What's up, people? So excuse my totally ghetto rig we got going on. I got a little lamp right here, right in my face. So I'm wearing shades just to cool it down. Got my super glary white boy, but you know, I'm a minimalist. I don't like spending money. I don't know this extra equipment if I could do it with some very basic stuff. So with that being said, I just want to lay down some very basic principles that I think a lot of people are overlooking, and I think it would be very helpful for people to understand these principles. So let's just get started, okay? This right here is a diagram of what you might call how government is supposed to work, okay? Let me draw this, but that would be tax money going from the citizens to the government. Okay, we'll just write government, G-O-V-T, government. This is dollars, whatever, any type of money. So tax money is going to go from the citizenry to the government. The government is supposed to be made up of citizens that are elected as representatives, officials, whatever. And then the government's going to decide what to spend that tax money on. And it should be something that benefits the citizenry directly, like 100%. This is the citizens' money going to the government. It's elected officials from the citizenry that are in the government making decisions, and they're supposed to be making decisions for the people. Very simple concept. That's not like new. That's what it's set up to be. But it seems like a lot of people just overlook that concept. A lot of people are just like, oh, I gotta pay taxes, just gonna steal it out of my paycheck, income tax. Next thing you know, money's going up there. They don't even pay attention what the government is spending it on. And that's actually the reason there was limited power of the federal government, you know, kind of implied in the Constitution. Because, you know, when you have a giant governmental body, you know, it's kind of, it loses a certain amount of accountability. So if you have like state governments, taxes going to the state, that's a little bit more local, easier to control by the citizenry. And it's crazy because a lot of people, they don't even pay attention to who they're voting for or what the people they're voting for are really about. You know, a lot of people vote based on, oh yeah, this guy looks cool, or he sounds nice, he sounds like a nice guy. Let's vote for that guy to be in the government and make decisions on how to spend our money. And especially with like, well, that happens like with the president of the United States. But a lot of times people are just electing people into local governments having no idea like really what they're voting for. Like right now, the mayor of the city I live in, I don't think he's a good guy. I think he's a pretty shady guy. And there's plenty of politicians like him, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people, what they're doing, they're just like voting straight ticket. They're like, oh yeah, like I kind of resonate with certain values of this political party, so let's vote straight ticket. And you're just checking off boxes for people you never even heard of. Next thing you know, they're all filling up your local government and making decisions on how to spend your money. Literally, they're spending your money. That's what it really is. They're literally taking money from you, like demanding it. We're going to take your money, income tax. They say it's part of living in a free society, whatever. Taking your money, they got a whole bunch of it. They got a budget sheet, and they're going to decide what to spend it on. If you don't know who they are or what they're spending it on, that's just an ignorance that should not exist. That's an extreme ignorance. It's you know, you're handing somebody your money. A lot of people don't think of it like that, and that's a problem too. You know, a lot of people just have money deduced from their paycheck, like from their employer, and it's like they don't even think about it. They're just like, here's what I got. They already took the taxes out. They don't even think about the money they're actually giving. Money is being taken out of your paycheck. It is literally being taken from you. The government has it, and they're supposed to be making decisions that benefit you. You see what I'm saying? That's a very basic, simple concept. And I think a lot of people overlook that. And, with a lot of programs that people want, a lot of people are almost like brainwashed to think like everything is like socialism. Look, dude, you have taxes taken away. That's your money being given to the government. Now the government has a big pool of money. What is that government going to spend their money on? What should it spend their money on? Should it spend it on random wars that really don't benefit any of these guys? Are they going to hire a bunch of these guys to go off and get killed overseas? Is that a good thing to spend their money on? That's ridiculous. Your money should be spent on stuff that benefits you directly. It could be roads, it can be schools, it can be medical coverage, it can be pay for your water bill, to have local water for free, or not free, but what you paid for, have like public programs to provide the basic necessities of life. Like, for real, it's your money. It's being taken from you. What should it be spent on? Stuff that benefits you. It's a very simple concept. And I think a lot of people, they just are somehow loopy in the head about that. It's a straightforward thing. I mean, do I even need to explain it more? Is that kind of clarifying the whole concept? The thing is, a lot of people do not hold the people in government accountable. Like I said, they just vote random people and they don't pay attention to who they are, what they're really about. They get into government, they have all this money at their, in their hands, and they can make the decisions on what to spend on. They'll spend on crazy stuff. They'll say, hey, let's go start a war with some random people, and we'll literally spend it to buy equipment to arm these guys. A lot of these guys are stressing because we already robbed them of their freaking money with taxes. But, they'll literally take the citizenry's tax money, and quite often they're not doing things that are benefiting the citizenry. They'll actually sometimes do stuff that's really the opposite of benefiting the citizenry. Sometimes they're like the federal government, they have like Homeland Security, like they might try to make the argument that that's like necessary for your safety or something, but a lot of times it's just like these random organizations that are existing that nobody even wants. It's like, why do we need some Homeland Security like grabbing our freaking balls when we're trying to go ride a plane? You know what I mean? Like, dude, like, is that necessary? I don't know, but they're gonna, sure enough, take that money and do stuff like that. There's other organizations, there's NSA. A lot of people don't even know what these organizations do. CIA, you know what I'm saying? FBI, they do some stuff that's apparently good. There's probably some stuff they do good, but there's probably a lot of stuff that, like, I know there's a lot of stuff that we don't even know that's happening. They just passed like a $700 billion military budget. That's $700 billion, and we probably aren't going to know anything that money's being spent on. It was stolen from you. That money is literally forced out of your hands. You're threatened with jail if you don't pay those taxes. They took that money. They have that money. Now, what are they going to do? They're doing like all types of weird, shady stuff. They're not doing stuff that directly benefits you. They're not. They're literally handing money to other countries. There's literally foreign aid that they give out. They hand money to other countries. Oh, because it makes us, it's a good relationship building trust thing or something. Just take our fucking money and hand it to random countries? Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, so you see what I'm saying? Like, when there's a lack of accountability, when people don't pay attention to what the government's doing, that's when the government is just like, hey, look, nobody's looking. What can we do? Let's go and do all this crazy stuff. That's exactly what they do. And I mean, that's why money should be kept local. The federal government's power should be minimized by, starving them of money, basically. And anything that your money is being taken from you for should be something that directly benefits you. It's that simple. It's just that simple. And a lot of people just don't seem to get it. They just seem like, oh, they just took my money. That's it. And then even when they vote, they don't even know who they vote for. Like, oh, that guy looks cool. Let's vote for that guy. I mean, dude, they're taking your money and then spending it. It's like the least you can do is like pay attention to what they're spending it on. Like, holy crap. It's important stuff. It's important stuff, and I mean, really, it's a failure of the citizenry to really understand this. And like, if you don't like it, then you gotta say something about it. You gotta call up your Congress people and be like, hey, I don't like what you're spending money on. I don't like these random wars. I don't like this, all these random organizations. I don't know what y'all are spending my money on. Like, I want stuff that directly benefits me. Y'all gotta demand that from your Congress people. You're voting for these people. If your Congress people realize you're not happy with the job they're doing, they're like, oh crap, they're not gonna vote for me again. They're afraid they're gonna get kicked out. So they're like, okay, I'm gonna do what these people say. It's that simple. It's supply and demand, basically. Like, the customer is always right. If a company pisses off its customers, it realizes it's about to lose some business. The same thing. If a politician realizes they're pissing off their constituents, then they're like, oh crap, they're not gonna vote for me again. I'm not gonna be in this position that I love so much. Because a lot of these politicians, a lot of these politicians are crooked, and they'll sit there and they'll let like lobbyists come in and like make like backdoor deals with them and be like, all right, you pass this law that helps me, I'll kick back some money to you, this and that. So they like the positions. They're freaking crooked politicians. There's so many of those. There's a ton of them. I already know there is. There's politicians that make like $100,000 a year and like have a net worth of like 10 to 100 million. Like, how do you got that going on? They're doing backdoor deals. I mean, that a lot of people love their positions of power. So the least you can do is demand that they do a decent job with your money. That's the least you can do. The least you can do. On top of that, you can possibly run for yourself. You can pay attention to everything. You can be like, you can demand that less taxes be taken away. You know what I mean? It's a supply and demand type relationship. It's like, if they're pissing off the constituents, they realize they're about to be voted out. It's a very fragile situation for them, as it should be, because it keeps them accountable. If people aren't even keeping them accountable, though, they're not even paying attention. They're just like, oh, I just take my money out of my paycheck and I just go home and work hard and try to be a decent person. That's all I try to do. You just got money taken away, and then they could be using that money for all types of stuff that's they be using for bad stuff. Using it to start wars with people in random countries that did nothing. Use it to create some agencies that spy on you. You know what I mean? So if you don't pay attention, it probably gonna bite you in the fucking ass. That's really kind of, if that's not incentive, I don't know what the freak should be. It's kind of like Thomas Jefferson said. He said that there's never been such a thing as a free and ignorant society. Because, if you're just ignorant of what's going on, you got people, making moves, and before you know it, you're deeper in a hole than you ever have been before. They're passing laws that restrict your freedom, that put more controls on you, whatever it might be. You know what I'm saying? Start wars with random people, hand money over to random countries. And they're like, oh, we don't have any more money. And then they just take more money. They're just milking you and using it for whatever they want. It's a joke, dude. So y'all gotta understand this very basic concept, dude. I feel like it's almost a shame that I have to explain this, but I've been just paying attention. Is like, apparently nobody understands this very basic concept. Like, they don't really understand it. They might be like, okay, it's the government, and they're just, a lot of people think of the government as like this arbitrary thing. No, that's people elected from the citizenry that are supposed to be making good choices for the citizenry, especially on how to spend the money that you give them. You know what I mean? It's not just it's just the government. They just control stuff, and we're just these random people that they pass rules for, laws and everything. That's not what it is. It's you and somebody among you being elected to make decisions that are supposed to benefit you and the general populace. Y'all gotta keep this concept in your head. If you let this concept get away, that's when you think the government's just this arbitrary body that controls stuff. And you're just like, oh yeah, they're just passing all these random laws and starting wars. I guess that's just what the government does. You're not doing your job as a citizenry of holding the government accountable. That's your job. They're taking your money. The least you can do is pay attention to what they're spending your money on. It's very simple. Okay. That being said, I think that covers the basics, and just drill it in your brain. Just really meditate on this right now. Just shut your mouth, shut your brain off of everything else, and just comprehend this circle of governmental life right here. Just comprehend it.